Hello, this is Susie Ashworth, founder of the Calm Birth School, and today I want to talk to you about what's going to happen once your baby finally arrives. It's not something that we often talk about in the lead up to our birth. We are absolutely consumed by creating the most positive experience, or hopefully you feel consumed by wanting to create the most positive birth experience for you, your birth partner if you have one, and of course your baby, that sometimes we don't pay any attention to what happens once the baby finally arrives. And any mother who is really honest with you will tell you that that is the time that the work really starts. And I like to think that actually the work that we do in the Calm Birth School during our pregnancy really sets us up for being able to deal with all of the things that we have not got a clue about. Every single time our baby cries and we can't settle them immediately, all of the late nights and lack of sleep, that sense of being able to return to your breath and manage your emotions and focus on the things that you can control and let go of the things that you can't control are all things that you will have been developing during your pregnancy. So by the time that your baby arrives, whilst it still is going to be a baptism of fire, that you have some tools in your back pocket that are really going to help you during what can be challenging times. But what I wanted to focus on today is the idea, the philosophy around the fourth trimester. This is something that I bought into a little bit with my first and took it not to the extreme, but really focused on nurturing that immediate time post birth. So maybe in some baby books they'll talk about the golden hour after your baby's been born, and ideally the benefits of having that skin to skin time and being really close is allowing you to bond with your baby and connect with them, even though they haven't met you before. Or even though you haven't had eyeball to eyeball before, they will recognize your smell and recognize your voice, and that will be really comforting to them. However, post that first hour, I think often in Western society, we as women are either expected to or feel that we need to kind of get back in the saddle within 2 or 3 days of baby arriving. The fourth trimester approach is the antithesis of that. That is about really, and particularly the first 40 days after birth, is really about minimizing as much outside contact you and your baby have with the rest of the world, and really allow that time for you and your family to bed in with this new human being that you want to get to know. And I have to say, having done this 3 times now, the third time was the most beautiful time for me because I didn't have any guests for the first week. Now, that was hard. That was hard to say that this is what I wanted. But again, I'd had the practice of asking questions, using my brain, stating my needs and wants during my pregnancy. And as this was our last baby and the last time I was going to do it, whilst it was hard for the grandparents to take a little bit of a step back, I was really clear that I didn't want to have any visitors for the first week. And I stayed in bed for 2 whole weeks. I think I must have got dressed once to go to the doctors. But other than that, I was in my dressing gown, in my bedroom, being waited on hand and foot, and just staring at this gorgeous new human being. And it was the best experience for myself and for the baby. It was so beautiful. And the not statistics, but the anecdotal feedback about how mothers and babies respond to each other when given that space the opportunity that you give yourself to start really reading your baby's cues, that removal of the pressure to be tidying up your house and making people cups of tea and thinking about whether you're going to have to feed them or not, or if you're breastfeeding and still getting used to it, not having to kind of whop your back out in front of, you know, your neighbours and your friends and everybody in that first week or so is really, really beneficial. So I invite you to look at your post-birth times, particularly at first couple of weeks, and talk to your birth partner, if you have one, about your preferences. What would you like to happen during those first couple of weeks? How might your partner or doula or mother be able to help you during your pregnancy prepare for those 2 weeks? How can you think about the type of conversation that you might want to have with your in-laws or people that you feel that you may need to make an effort with beforehand to let them know that you're going to be battening down the hatches and taking time to get to know your baby once they arrive. It's really useful to think about what you might want and then just let people know it's your body, your baby, your time, and actually inviting people to wait for a few days is not a big deal at all. So that's what I'm going to leave you with today. If you haven't already signed up for our free hypnobirthing classes, please check out www.thecalmbirthschool.com/free hypnobirthing. Thank you so much, and I will see you next week.